Welcome back to Dash Explore. I'm Sarah, and today I'm going to be sharing our 3-day Naples itinerary with kids in just 3 minutes. Or at least I'm going to try. So if you are new to our channel, I want to get you caught up before I jump into our trip recap because this Naples trip actually took place in the middle of our European adventures. So before we get started, I want to get you caught up on who's on this trip, where we've been, what we've been doing, and how we got to this point so far. So my husband Andrew and I, our two girls, Haley and Delaney, age 5 and 2, as well as Andrew's mom, went on a 12-day European adventure to Italy and Denmark. We started our time in Rome, then took the train up to Florence, and I will link those trip itinerary recaps up here. And now we are getting ready to head down to Naples for the final portion of our Italian adventures. So now that you are all caught up, let's jump into our time in Naples. Day 1 started off with us taking the train from Florence to Naples. Again, we pre-booked our train tickets ahead of time and were able to select seats all together. This train ride was about 3 hours, and again, it was so relaxing to just sit in one place after 6 days of non-stop adventure. Once we arrived in Naples, we found our way to the metro, which was not quite as easy as it sounded. This is where we hit our first real snafu of the trip because there were some major delays with the trains and we ended up waiting for close to an hour to finally get on the right train. In the end, it all worked out and we were greeted at our next Airbnb by our amazingly kind hosts who gave us a tour of this incredible apartment and even had an assortment of fruits, sparkling water, wine, and a fresh loaf of bread waiting for us. After all the mental stress of a travel day, we decided to just enjoy the feast they had left for us and soak in the view from the balcony. We reminisced on our time in Florence, enjoyed our snack, and then decided to head out and explore the town. We were staying in the town of Chiaia, just outside of Naples, so we were right on the water and enjoyed a beachside walk with views of Vesuvius, Sorrento, and Capri. The girls loved the time to just run around and also got to dip their toes in the Tyrrhenian Sea. We made our way down the beach to a pizza restaurant that was recommended to us from a friend and enjoyed some Italian cocktails, sparkling water, and pizzas by the sea. Then we headed back to our apartment, got the girls settled into bed, and the grown-ups enjoyed our incredible balcony view at night with some more Italian wine. The next morning we got up and going because we had a scheduled car service to pick us up at 8:45 to drive us out to Pompeii. We are so glad we opted for this service because they provided car seats, played Cocomelon for Delaney, and our driver Antonio shared so much history about the city and the sights we saw along the way. Also, after our mishap with the metro the day before, we didn't want to risk being late for our tour of Pompeii. We arrived with plenty of time to grab coffee and pastries before meeting our guide Mima for our kids' tour of Pompeii. She did a great job of engaging Haley in the tour and even had a trivia game for us to play where the winner won a grand prize. This was the stop on our trip that Haley specifically requested, and we were so proud when she confidently told Mima that Vesuvius erupted on August 24th, AD 79. We walked all through this ancient city and learned so much about how the people of Pompeii used to live. It was a little crowded, but the weather was perfect and we all learned so much on our tour. Once our tour was finished, we headed over to the train station and went over to Sorrento. This ended up being the surprise MVP of this trip for everyone, and we were so glad we made it out to this cute beach town. We did a ton of souvenir shopping, all the lemon stuff was irresistible, and then found a place that had outdoor seating to enjoy some more pizza, calamari, and some spritzes for the grown-ups. Never fear, we also found more gelato here too. The views from the city were absolutely stunning, and we were all sad we didn't schedule more time to spend here. After doing our speed run of the city, we booked tickets to ride the ferry boat back to Naples. Not only was this faster than taking the trains, but you just could not beat the views. This was probably my favorite part of our entire time in Italy, to be able to look back on the beautiful cliff sides of Sorrento, the amazing views of Mount Vesuvius, and then return back to Naples. Once we docked, we opted to walk the 40 minutes back to our Airbnb since we hadn't been through Naples city center yet, and we had no regrets. We saw most of the things we wanted to see, and then again we stopped at our local grocery store to grab some snacks for another picnic dinner on our balcony. The weather and the view from this balcony were irresistible, and we were so lucky that we were able to spend so much time out in this space. We woke up on our last day in Naples, and Andrew and I decided we couldn't resist a run down these beautiful beach pathways before our afternoon flight to Copenhagen. The lighting over Mount Vesuvius was unreal. We then made our way back to our Airbnb to shower and pack up all of our belongings before our checkout time at 10 a.m. Our hosts were kind enough to store our belongings so we could go out and enjoy our last sights of Italy before we headed back to the airport. We walked back down the beach and then found a local butcher and bakery that was selling fresh pizzas. Then it was time to meet our car to take us to the airport to get excited for our next adventures in Denmark. Well, that wraps it up for our time in Italy. We all had the most amazing time on this trip, and I think it is going to be really hard to resist another Italy trip in the future because we all enjoyed every second. Naples was an extra special part of this trip because Andrew and I had not been to that part of Italy before, and adding in Pompeii and Sorrento were just the cherry on top of an incredible trip. In our next video, I will be finishing out the rest of this European adventure with our 2 days in Copenhagen in just 2 minutes. So if you want to watch that, make sure that you hit subscribe and that you ring the notification bell so that you can get notified when we post new videos. And if you found this video helpful in planning your family trip to Naples, please make sure you hit the like button, and you can also head over to Instagram and follow us at Dash Explore. Thank you so much for watching today, and we will catch you in the next one.